everyone. I'm Kara Minowie. This is Shell Point Today for the weekend of January 17th, 18th, and 19th. On today's show, we meet David and Betty Constance, who changed lives in South America thanks to the work of Shell Point's Stamp Ministry. But first, a reminder about this Sunday's big event involving tennis. Fred Drilling is a tennis Hall of Famer and teacher based in Washington, D.C., and this Sunday he's organizing a tennis expo right here at Shell Point. Pick up some tips for your game or learn how tennis can be a fun form of physical fitness. All are welcome to the Tennis Expo with Fred Drilling this Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. And what if you're a tennis player who thinks they've got enough game to take on Shell Point's employees? Next week, you'll get your chance. Resort Services is organizing a resident employee tennis challenge where matchups will determine who is the king of the hill when it comes to tennis. This event happens next Saturday, January 25th at 9 a.m. at the tennis courts, and all skill levels are welcome. To sign up for this free event, contact Rose Donnelly at 454-2272. And for what it's worth, Rose is also organizing a table tennis tournament next month, so get your paddles ready for that. Now, the big event this weekend takes place at the Village Church, where missionaries from around the world will converge for Global Impact Week, a 7-day celebration of international missions. One of the missionaries speaking next week will be Betty Constance, who may be familiar to you if you've ever worked in the stamp room. They helped to create the Spanish-language Sunday school literature that is funded by the stamp room's proceeds. We asked the Constances to describe their mission.
The Stamp Ministry has always had at its core the mission of reaching people for Christ. Ever since Robert Searing, a missionary to Colombia, brought the Stamp Ministry to Shell Point in the 1970s, every dollar earned has gone to help spread the gospel in Central and South America. Currently, the money helps to print Sunday school materials created and published by missionaries David and Betty Constance.
What the stamp people do through the ministry here directly benefits our ministry in Argentina. We have been missionaries with the Christian and Missionary Alliance for 43 years. The ministry that we are presently involved in has to do with the publishing of Sunday school materials in Spanish.
What God was calling me to do was to write lessons which were contextualized to the reality of the children of Latin America. I began immediately doing this and writing lessons for children who were very poor, whose families were usually completely fragmented.
There's tremendous interest and, in fact, almost a need, a certain desperation that teachers are feeling about how to help children, especially hurting children. Children that come from broken homes where there's alcoholism, there's drug addiction, there's divorce, there's all kinds of abuse. And so the seminars that we hold in these different cities for teachers address these different issues.
A woman came up to me in the city of Rivera in Uruguay and said, I need to tell you something. She had 2 young men with her. She said, way back, and I don't remember what year she named, she said, the pastor of our church asked me to start a slum ministry to children living in just the fringes of the city. She said, I'd never taught Sunday school, I'd never taught the Bible, I had no idea what to do, and he handed me a packet of your materials. So she said, I did everything you said to do in the materials. And I started this class with slum children, and they loved the story so much and the class that they began coming regularly, and the group grew. And she said, it's gone on and it's continued, and it's been about 10 years that this class has gone on in this slum area. And I want to introduce you to 2 members of the first class, she said. And these 2 young men stepped forward. She says, they are now teaching the classes.
Many people say, I wish I could do something for God. I think that's a longing in everyone's life. What can I do? And they begin comparing themselves to the abilities they see in people who are preachers or singers or whatever. And yet we do things for God in very simple ways. Collecting stamps seems so insignificant, but when you take something that seems insignificant and add it with the combined effort of thousands of people, it becomes something. The work that is done here in the stamp room and the gathering of all these thousands, millions of stamps, that means that that ministry can continue, it is extremely important to receive that money. And we are so thankful to the stamp ministry for what they are doing.
If you'd like to contribute to the Constance's mission, there's an easy way to do it. Simply save your stamps and send them into the stamp room located in the island tunnel. Or volunteer in the stamp room, which welcomes new volunteers every Tuesday and Friday morning. We'll learn more about Betty and all the other visiting missionaries in today's segment of Village Church Connections. But before we get to that, let's cover all this weekend's happenings, menus, and Academy news.
This is the weekend edition of Shell Point TV. We're so glad you tuned in with us today. My name is Leslie Brand, and I'm here with Bev Chanley, and we are going to tell you all about the activities going on for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to start with Friday, January 17th at 8:15 in the Stamp Ministry in the Stamp Room. 9 o'clock is the men's match play doubles tennis at the tennis courts. The Susie Q is going out to Green Flash for lunch. It's at 9:30 and sign up is required. 10 o'clock is Canasta in the game room. New players are always welcome. Inquiring Minds will be in the Manatee room at 10:15. And golf croquet will be held out in the bocce courts at 10:30. At 12:30 is the Mixed Progressive Bridge in the game room. Table tennis is at 1:15 in the Tarpon room. And also at 1:15 is the Quilters in the Osprey room on the island. Model train room is at 1:30. Tours go until 3:30 that day. And Vespers is at 1:30 in the community room at the Arbor. 2 o'clock we have Euchre in the Sable room at the Woodlands. 2:45 is Vespers in the community room at King's Crown. And at 6:45 Friday night is Game Night, Resident Activity Center on the island. Now here's Bev to talk about Saturday's activities.
Thank you, Leslie. We know things don't slow down on the weekends around here, and Saturday morning we're going to start out at 8 o'clock. We have the round robin men's doubles tennis at the Woodlands tennis courts. We'll go to 9:30 where the women's doubles tennis will head to the courts. Then at 9:45, the duplicate bridge group will be in the Manatee room on the island. At 10:15, the Model Yacht Club will be sailing their boats at the Garden Apartment Pond behind the Resident Activity Center. We'll go to the afternoon activity lineup with 1 o'clock chess. That'll be played in the Library Lounge. And then at 1:15, we have the table tennis set up down in the Tarpon room. It'll be available all weekend long. We jump to 3:15 where basic line dancing will be held in the Health Club. And all the way to 6:30 now where we have a duplicate bridge again in the Manatee room on the island. We have a Symphony Pop Series transportation leaving for the Barbara B. Mann Theater at 6:45. If you have your tickets, you can look for your pickups at 6:45 on the island, 6:55 at the Woodlands, and 7:05 in Eagles Preserve. And now here's Leslie to tell you about our Sunday activities.
Thank you, Bev. And this is going to be the Global Impact Week at the Village Church. Today is the start of it. And we're going to start at 9 o'clock in the Christian Life Studies at the Game Room. 9:15 is the Christian Life Studies at the Village Church. And morning worship will be broadcasted live on Shell Point TV, Channel 12 at 10:15 at the Village Church. At 12 o'clock, it's Whistle Down the Wind. It's at the Theater Zone in Naples. Court pickups will start at 12 o'clock on the island, 12:15 at the Woodlands, and 12:30 at Eagles Preserve. 1:30 is the Mixed Golf League at the Shell Point Golf Club. 2:30 is the Sunday matinee. They're showing The African Queen. It's a 1951 movie, and it is held in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. 3:15 is ballroom line dancing for beginners at the Health Club. And 4 o'clock, make sure you make your way out to the tennis courts to learn from a professional, Fred Drilling. We have a tennis expo going on. It's a great time to learn tennis tips from a professional and to get pointers on those of you that are playing for the resident versus staff tennis tournament. And then we're going to end the day at 6:15 at the evening service at the Village Church on the island. Thank you for tuning in with us today. We hope you have a great weekend and make sure it's a good one.
Hi, I'm Terry Koleth with your Academy information for the weekend. On Friday, January 17th, our Academy on the Go educational field trip to Calusa Nature Center and Planetarium show begins with court pickup at 12:15 on the island. I'd like to tell you about our new classes coming next week. On Monday, we have an HD TV class, Possibilities with an iPad, with Bruce Findlay of Sundial. On Tuesday, Professor Adrian Kerr will tell us about Moluccan spice island Larantuka and how it became the center of the Portuguese sandalwood trade. We have an iPad class, Got One? Now What? With Penny Modridge of Nautilus and Bruce Findlay of Sundial. And then Session 3 of A Tale of Two Cities with Phil Gannon of Rosemont. Penny Modridge and Bruce Findlay will also share how to print from your tablet. On Thursday, we have an iPad class, note-taking and drawing apps with Bruce Findlay of Sundial. And on Friday, Bruce will teach us about smartphones, Apple iPhones.
Menus for your weekend. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter on Friday is fried cod with wedge-cut fries, malt vinegar, and coleslaw. The dinner special is the seafood buffet for $14.95, and the soup of the day is pasta fagioli. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Friday, enjoy a barbecue pork sandwich with coleslaw for $7.25. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Friday are lamb chops for $21.95 or baked cod for $16.95. On Saturday, the Crystal Room is closed. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Saturday, there's a seafood salad croissant with chips for $7.25. For dinner, the special is pork marsala with mashed potatoes and mixed vegetables for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Saturday are prime rib for $19.95 or grilled mahi-mahi for $13.95. On Sunday, the Crystal Room features its Sunday brunch for $17.50. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Sunday, enjoy fresh fruit with cottage cheese, sliced tomato, and a hamburger patty for $7.25. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.25, and the Palm Grill is closed on Sundays. Menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Let me welcome you to Village Church Connections today. I'm here with Pastor Andy Hawkins, and Andy, we are here to talk about the kickoff to Global Impact Week, which is this weekend.
That's right. Yeah, Sunday's going to be an exciting service. We always have exciting services, but I think it's especially exciting when the mission from the heart of God is on display from beginning to end, which is the love of God in Christ for all the world. Yeah.
We've been working towards this weekend for a number of months, really, and putting the details together, praying about it, and this weekend we begin.
That's right.
And Sunday morning, our special guest is John Corby.
That's right. John has ministered, not only grew up in overseas, but also ministered as an international worker in Gabon, and then also has been involved in administration of missionaries and international workers all across the globe for the Christian and Missionary Alliance. And I always appreciate people like that because he has such a global mind about ministry in general, and he knows what's happening all across the various places where we have international workers. And we have international workers that in our denomination that we're associated with in more than 80 countries. So I think it's really exciting to have somebody that has that breadth of understanding about what's happening all over the place, and I'm looking forward to the messages that he's going to bring. He'll be speaking Sunday morning, and then Sunday evening we have Teresa Bill, who's ministered in Africa a good bit, and she's been in Gabon, and most recently she's been in Congo. And so she'll be speaking to us in the evening, along with John Corby. He'll also be saying some things as well. And then following the evening service, we'll have a fellowship time, which we'll enjoy together.
Our deaconesses are so good about that, especially during Global Impact Week. We try and give our folks opportunity to just linger and to interact about what they've heard, perhaps talk with our guests, and so we appreciate the effort that they put into that. Sunday morning, our choir will also be ministering, and they're singing an anthem that fits our theme so well.
Indeed.
Our theme is a love story.
Yeah, and it's God So Loved the World, that wonderful setting by Stainer that is very, very well known. It's a rich demonstration and depiction of the love of God.
Right.
Yep.
And then I also want to mention Monday night is our banquet. We've been talking about this. Tickets are available. They're complimentary. And as we get closer to banquet night, sometimes we have some cancellations. We have a little bit of shifting in seating. So if you haven't gotten a ticket yet and you would really like to attend, please call our church office and we can see if we have some seats still available.
Good. Sounds great.
Yeah. So we look forward to the day, and we invite you to join us as we kick off our Global Impact Week this Sunday, 10:15 in the morning, 6:15 in the evening, with refreshments that follow this service. Have a wonderful day.
It's time to replay some of the week's best stories from ShellPoint TV, and we began this week with a tour of the new home built in Palm Acres, which showcases one of the floor plans available in ShellPoint's newest neighborhood, the Estuary.
Hi everybody, it's Jared Pike with ShellPoint TV. With me is Mary Moore, our Moving Resources Manager. And Mary, the house is done.
Yes it is. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
This is the Estuary sample home. And we know a lot of you have been curious about this home. We showed you when it was under construction, but it's finished now. And because it's somebody's home, you can't exactly go and just kind of tramp through it. So we're going to take a tour and show you the finer points of this Estuary sample home. Now the first thing, Mary, is that the exterior just looks gorgeous.
It is. You know, Jared, we tried to model all of our models for the Estuary after the old Florida style. We have the metal roofs, a lot of neat architectural features like cupolas. Some of them have dormers. You can see the garage is a 2-car plus a golf cart garage, and there are wood doors, nice wraparound front porches, all on one level.
All on one level, which means there's no stairs. You walk or roll up a ramp or up a driveway, up through the patio, and we're going to roll through the golf cart garage because it's a pretty unique feature to have a little 2+ golf cart. So this is where the golf cart would come in, and as you mentioned, there's no step. It's all one grade, one level as they call it. Big garage, lots of storage possibilities, and then inside, that's where the real magic happens. Now, what I look at, Mary, first when I walk in the house is the size. Talk about that for a minute.
Soaring ceilings. If you go into any room, especially in the entranceway, they're about 30 feet high, and a really nice feature with the cupolas in this particular model.
This kitchen looks fantastic, but we do want people to know that there are a lot of upgrades here.
There are, Jared. As a matter of fact, all throughout the home, since it's a preview home, we do have a lot of upgrades. In the kitchen, granite, level 1 granite is standard, but this is an upgraded granite for this particular home. The stainless steel appliances, for example, are upgrades, and even the cabinets are an upgraded cabinet, which you can do. The backsplash is an upgrade. And note the floor, the wood floor throughout is an upgrade. This would typically be tile, and you'd have carpet in the living room area and in the bedrooms.
So Mary, tell me about this master suite.
This master suite is fabulous. Again, the high ceilings, the tray ceiling in here. Let's look at the bay window as a nice feature in the master bedroom. This one looks out to the canal. If you had this home over at the Estuary, of course you'd look out into the golf course or a pond perhaps. It has a door that goes out to a lanai typically, and as we're walking this way you'll see 2 closets. One large walk-in closet here, and then we have a smaller one right here. Of course, in my house, that would mean this would be the wife's closet and this would be the husband's closet.
And also lots of storage solutions in here.
Yes, that's an upgrade. That is a closet organizer system.
And then the master bath has a lot of interesting features. Tell us about that.
It does. The master bath, this typically would be tile, and it is, but this is an upgraded tile. Notice the frameless shower door, which is an upgrade. The shower will be tiled, though, with 4-inch tumbled marble on the floor. And we have granite in the on the vanity, and granite is a standard for the vanities in here. This is an upgraded granite, of course. And then the cabinets that flow from the kitchen into here, the same cabinets. We had a designer from Mata Brothers pick these features, and I think she did a nice job.
And then in here is kind of a washroom.
It is.
Laundry room.
It's such a nice thing to have your laundry room attached to your bathroom, because you just do your laundry and then you can just put it right away because your bedroom's there and then your bathroom's right there. Utility sink.
And as we mentioned before, the utility sink looks just as good as the bathroom sink.
It does.
Just as good as everything.
It certainly doesn't look like the old utility sinks and garages that you used to see. And this is the beautiful great room with the soaring ceilings. We have a little inset that was an upgrade for a television. The way they designed this, they put the inset for a large flat screen TV, and this is a great upgrade that I expect most people will want to do for their great room.
Again, the cupola. Talk about that cupola.
Well, that brings in some wonderful natural light from the windows up into the cupola. And up in the ceiling of that, we have some nice wood features that have been painted that really does a lot for that area. If you look straight ahead, where these curtains are, this used to be a screened lanai, and they opted to enclose that. So now it is an air-conditioned space with the enclosed lanai, and added a lot more square footage to the home. Dining room right here, we have the bay windows right here with plantation shutters throughout, which is an upgrade.
Now there's a dining room here, but there's also a second dining room by the kitchen. Let's go over there.
Certainly. We call it our morning room. Mata Brothers does a wonderful job with this Florida-style furniture.
Now again, it's tough to communicate this on television, but tell us what we're looking at. This is basically a glass wall here.
Sure, it's like a picturesque view of whatever your view is out back. So from the morning room, if you look straight ahead, we're going to see our Deepwater Canal. If you were at the estuary, you would look right out to the golf course or to the lake or perhaps to the community building or pool, depending on what your lot was.
Now, because this is a sample home, it does have a few extra touches. For example, this grill, which normally would be outside, is now actually in the home because the lanai is not glassed off. It's actually part of the home. But there's a hood there and allows you to grill while you're actually in the house. And once you have the doors open, the inside becomes the outside. So let's
Correct.
go outside and
Let's
see what's
do that.
out there.
Okay. These people have opted to put a pool and a jacuzzi in, and has some wonderful pavers around the pool. The jacuzzi that flows into the pool, and you could actually do some swimming in here because it's long enough for that.
And this is a unique feature at Shell Point, individual pools. This is something only available in the estuary.
And yeah, and in Paul Maker's
And
homes.
in Paul Maker's.
Right.
But this is a great, it's all screened in, so no bugs, and you can enjoy the outdoors right outside your back patio.
Yep.
All right, there are a couple other bedrooms we want to show you. Let's go inside.
As you see, the colors that they have in the living room and the dining room, the colors are kind of brought into the other bedrooms too.
So we have oranges and we have
blues,
and
right?
greens.
So this bedroom actually was transformed into a den, if you will, but it could be a bedroom, and it has a closet, so it is a bedroom. And you'll notice the same colors that were pulled in from the other rooms in here.
And then down the hall, there's a...
Then we have a shared bathroom here. And notice it's on the other side of the house, so if you have guests, you're going to have a lot of privacy, and it's you have your own hallway here, so it's not facing the great room. Third bedroom, and they use this as a guest bedroom. Notice the color that they pulled in from the other rooms.
And then, of course, this house also has a welcoming front porch.
Sure does, Jared. You could sit out here in some chairs and watch your neighbors as they go by and talk to the people on the golf course if you were out at the estuary.
And there's going to be a lot of new neighbors at the estuary. This is kind of a reflection of the homes that are going to be out there. But we're glad to show you this home that's in Paul Maker's as an example of what's coming very soon to the estuary. So for Mary Moore, this is Jared Pike for Shell Point TV.
The Glenn Miller Orchestra is coming to Shell Point on February 4th, and the tickets are going fast. Here's a taste of what you can expect at their concert.
Somebody just yelled out and said we should call it In the Mood. What do you think? Here it is. You know, somebody just handed me a note and said the band was too loud. I don't think it's too loud. What do you think? Is it too loud? Would you like to hear the band a little bit louder? Let's do it.
To purchase tickets for the Glenn Miller Orchestra, call our box office at 454-2067 or visit shellpoint.org/concerts. How about a summertime trip to the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island? Shell Point and Isings Travel are making it happen.
Hi everybody, I'm Bev Chandley and I'm here with Jeannie Van Houten from Isings Travel. She does the magic with our travel program here at Shell Point. We work together, we've been working together for 5 years, and we're here to talk a little bit about a trip we have coming up this summer in July to Mackinac Island in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Well, last summer when I went on a vacation, I did go to Mackinac Island, and I got on the phone when I got back and I said, Jeannie, if ever there was a good summer trip for our residents, maybe this would be it. And so her idea was,
Well, perfect. We're going to go to Mackinac Island, beautiful island, set between the upper and the lower peninsula of Michigan, some of the most beautiful area that there is in Michigan. And we're going to stay at the wonderful Grand Hotel, which is really America's summer place since 1887.
Wow, that sounds nice already, but do we fly right into, we can't fly to the island, can we?
We can't. We're going to fly as close as we can get, which is Traverse City. Again, a wonderful little place right on Lake Michigan. We'll overnight there before we get going on our wonderful scenic drive up along the coast of Michigan.
Well, that sounds, where will we stay in Traverse City?
We're going to stay at the Grand Traverse Resort in Traverse City for an overnight, and then travel the following day through some of the most beautiful scenery in Michigan to the ferry landing that'll take us over to Mackinac Island.
Now, one little town I remember visiting last summer that I fell in love with was Petoskey. Are we going to be going through Petoskey?
Absolutely. We'll make a stop in Petoskey, very charming little town. What did you experience in Petoskey that you like so much?
Well, first of all, the name of it was very curious to me because I have sort of a geology background, so I thought Petoskey stones. But I was fascinated with that little town. It's a very artsy little town and has the best gelato on the planet. Well, you know, when we get to Mackinac City, before we get our ferry, will we get a chance to see that Mackinac Bridge that everybody hears about?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Does it go to the island?
No, there's no way to get to the island but by boat or by ferry. We'll take that over to the island. And when we get to Mackinac Island, there's no motor vehicles, only horse-drawn carriages.
That's what I really loved. I loved the sound of the horse hooves, clip-clop, clip-clop. No traffic, no smell of vehicles, no horns. It was wonderful, just foot traffic and horses.
It's definitely a step back in time, and then to have the wonderful opportunity to spend 3 nights at the Grand Hotel, a magnificent hotel built in 1887, and they're still keeping the old world charm about it, and the classiness about it, the elegant classiness about it.
Well, when we were there last summer and we went to the Grand Hotel, that we were treated so nicely, and they took us to the lunch area where we had a buffet lunch that was unbelievable. And so we're not going to go hungry at the Grand Hotel.
No, the food is outstanding, and we will include all of the breakfasts and all the dinners. And then, of course, after dinner in the evening, you have the Grand Hotel Orchestra that plays every evening. Just a really wonderful end to each day.
And we have some tours during the daytime. The horse-drawn carriages will be coming regularly up to the hotel and take the residents where they want to be, or they can go on an organized tour. Is that right?
That's right. We're going to include a horse-drawn carriage tour of the island itself. We're also going to have a cruise, a lighthouse cruise on the island, so that'll be something extra special. We'll go to a special art museum that they have there called the Richard and Jane Minogian Art Museum. And then we're going to have extra special items at the hotel itself. We'll have a private history lecture just for our group. We'll have a behind-the-scenes tour of the Grand Hotel. And then, of course, there's all that wonderful time just to relax on the longest covered porch in the world.
The big porch, I remember quite well. It was lovely. I could have sat there for hours.
Well, I think what's unique about the Grand Hotel experience is the experience itself, the classic experience, the elegant experience, and the really wonderful step back into time that you just don't find these days.
It's hard to find, that's for sure. I'm so glad that we've had this opportunity to put this trip together. Now, if the residents sign up now, will they save a little money?
Absolutely. There's an advance purchase of $50 per person as long as they get in.
March 15th.
March the 15th. We already have a lot of people signing up. The trip will fill up very quickly, so we encourage you to make your reservations as early as possible because it's sort of a once-in-a-lifetime kind of opportunity to go with Shell Point.
Well, I agree, and I think it's going to be a great trip, and we hope you'll think about signing up. We already have couples celebrating their 65th anniversary. We have quite a few signed up already, so do join us, and we're happy you joined us here today. Thank you on behalf of myself and Jeannie Van Houten.
We talked to tennis pro Fred Drilling, who is hosting a tennis expo at Shell Point this Sunday at 4 p.m.
Hi everyone, I'm Willie Demarest, and I'm here with a very distinguished guest, that I'll be interviewing. This is Fred Drilling, a friend from Estero, Florida, and he's a tennis professional. And he will be here this coming Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock for all of you residents to meet this champion. Fred, tell us a little bit how you got interested in tennis. I understand you've been a professional for 50 years?
Yes, that's correct. My father was a tennis player, and I used to say that I started when I was 7, but I have started my grandchildren at 3, so I'm pretty sure my dad had me playing at 3 as well. Ended up playing high school tennis there, and then went to UCLA on a tennis scholarship. Played against Arthur Ashe when he was playing for UCLA. Became a tennis professional at a country club and started a tennis shop downtown Washington, D.C. area. Got to know Vice President Bush when he was vice president, playing at the Naval Observatory, and played a lot with his son Marvin, and ended up going to Camp David and playing in a big round-robin event that the Bushes had. We called it the Bush Slugfest.
He was not only the United States champion in singles tennis, over 70, but he was also the world champion tennis player, singles tennis player, and that was in 2007. And I understand you enjoy teaching and that you hold clinics for children. Is that right, in your area?
I have taught all my life, and I think anyone that teaches knows that there's a lot of satisfaction in teaching and helping, whether they're kids or adults, accomplish things that they didn't realize they would be able to accomplish. So in Bella Terra, where I live in Estero, I started giving free clinics once a month to 3 to 6-year-olds, and then following that hour, I would teach 7 to 12-year-olds.
Now, have you ever had a clinic for seniors like we're anticipating here at Shell Point?
Many times. I enjoy teaching and getting people back into tennis that maybe played 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. Some people have never held a racket in their hand. They're actually the easier ones to teach because they don't have bad habits that I have to try and get rid of. I like to teach kind of the easy way to play, just hitting pretty flat balls, being consistent at keeping the ball in place so that they can get lots of exercise, and it works at all levels. I will bring some of the players from those tournaments, some of my doubles partners out, and we'll give a little exhibition, but we'll try and get some of the residents involved in the exhibition as well. And
so they should bring their tennis rackets and sneakers?
They all should have rackets. If they don't have rackets, I'll be able to supply some, but shoes, tennis shoes, because of the clay courts, they need to have tennis shoes. And I'll give real basic things that will enable them to hit forehands, backhands, serves, and volleys, so they can all come out and play doubles, even for people that have never played before.
Oh, wow. You're going to get them on the court.
Yes.
This has been a great time with Fred, and I hope that you'll remember to come this coming Sunday at 4 o'clock at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. He'll be demonstrating and giving a little exhibit, and maybe playing against some of you. So bring your tennis rackets at 4 o'clock and wear your tennis shoes. This is Willie Demarest signing off with Fred Drilling.
Phil Matthews of Rosemont has an amazing space with clever uses of new furniture and well-placed mirrors. Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Bobby Brown, and this, by public demand, is Amazing Space. Today, we're at the home of Phil Matthews on the 8th floor of the Rosemont building at the Woodlands. So we're going on a tour.
We are going on a tour, and you're going to get to see a number of things that we've changed, but it fits into the overall atmosphere at Shell Point, and that is an active lifestyle, one that is pleasant to live in, and an enjoyable lifestyle here. So let's go in and take a look.
All right.
This is the entryway, and the first table that I put in here was too wide. and it stuck out too much, and I wanted to make sure that down the road, if I had to use a walker or a wheelchair, it would be easy to get in and out of all of the areas in the apartment here.
So it's futuristic planning on your part.
It's futuristic planning from the standpoint that I want to make it easy to get in and out. I want it to be comfortable in terms of the color designs. The colors are pretty much the same throughout. They're the beiges, the creams, the light greens. This was a one-bedroom apartment with a den.
A den.
And I felt I didn't really need the den, but I wanted to use space more effectively. So one of the first things I did was I took and turned the den into a second bedroom. What we did here is you can see that there is a queen-size bed without a lot of furniture in here. One of the most important things was that I didn't want to have dressers that were cluttering up the rooms, even though you do have a lot of clothes and things like that. And one of the things that I tried to do was to make use of closet space like that, where we had Shell Point build in some storage space, and it's very effective as a guest bedroom.
Rather than having a dresser or trying to find a wall space to put a dresser on,
correct,
you've just put it in there, and it's so useful that way.
It works well. Another thing about this this room here is that there are French doors. And in order to increase the privacy, as opposed to putting in just sheer drapes, we put in these movable shades that are, number one, much more cost effective than the sheers, or at least that's what I found it to be. And number two, they offer more privacy to the people that might be staying here.
Yeah, if you have a guest staying in this room, then they can close themselves off.
One of the other things that I tried to do was use furniture that could be used in different areas. And you'll notice that there's a chair at the desk. It doesn't match exactly to the desk, but it goes with the dining room set. We have multiple purposes in the furniture here. I'm going to take you in to the living room next, Bobby, and I want to point out something that we tried to do here. Sometimes you don't have perfect views from your location. And I'm using mirrors in this apartment in order to bring in the outside. And it's a very effective way to do it. And particularly when you look for the first time as you're coming into a room, you're going to see a mirror over on the far wall that reflects the image of the Caloosahatchee River. And it looks like there's a lot of water out there.
It does. Sometimes
there are images that you don't have a direct view of, but what you can bring into your living environment just by using a mirror to reflect what is down off on the side a little bit. The chairs, when I looked at the chairs, I wanted chairs that were easy to get in and out of, very comfortable, but they had support to push up off of if you're getting up. It is kind of luxurious to just be able to sit back and put up your feet and relax and watch TV, have conversations, things like that.
And it goes flat up against the wall. When he puts the chair back, it doesn't hit the wall. It's amazing.
I put a karate chop into my pillows to add a little different spice to the room. Yeah, a little bit different. Adding an upgrade might offer an opportunity to change the room layout a little bit and add things like bar stools, which are easy to get into. I found the Shell Point support to be excellent, and I put in Corian countertops.
Instead of granite.
Yep. Cost effective. It fits in well. I like the edge molding that you're able to get. And so it just adds a certain amount of class to the room. One of the things that I liked about this apartment is that we had tray ceilings. And in order to set those off a little bit and change the mood of the room, we painted the tray ceilings in 3 different colors. And in the living room, I added crown molding, which just adds a little bit more elegance to the room, in my opinion. But the 3 colors, the dark color on the ceiling, and then the lighter color on the first part that comes down, those colors actually change depending on the time of the day. And it changes the mood, but it offers a little bit different atmosphere, I think, in an apartment.
Now we're going to see the master suite.
This bed has an electric mattress in it, and it goes every which way if you want it to, but if you have problems with your legs or circulation, this is a wonderful thing to have. You don't have to prop pillows underneath. It'll just go up to whatever level you want. Likewise, it will also go up in the front, and if you have sinus problems or maybe breathing problems at night, sleep apnea, having a raised elevation in the head near the headboard is very good for you and really helps out a lot. Getting back to the use of mirrors is that when I sit here and I'm working on the computer, it's helpful to be able to look away occasionally, to just relax and look at something peaceful. And in looking at it this way, the view I have from sitting is that I get that view of the Caloosahatchee River, and very frequently there are boats out there, and it's just a nice peaceful view.
It just makes the whole wall open up.
It does. One of the things that I would recommend that people think about is putting a chair or a small settee, a place to sit when you're getting dressed, and that little bench there is very functional and just something that I'm glad that I put in and found. I like what Shell Point has done from the standpoint of putting in showers instead of tubs, and in putting in raised sinks here, which are very effective, I think.
That's kitchen counter height.
It is.
And that makes such a difference.
We have a stacked washer and dryer here, and it's a nice, convenient thing to have. And I would point out something that I had the cabinet makers take care of. Put a little shelf here, and it doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it's a very simple shelf to add, very inexpensive, and it holds detergent and
bounce fabric
and bounce, right? But it's nice to have.
Remover.
But a little shelf like that adds a lot in terms of convenience. I felt that a dining area, a little bit of a formal dining area, would be something that would add to this overall apartment. I can entertain, a total of 6 people here, and the room is small, yes, but it is very well lit.
There's the skylight.
We have a skylight here. We have the multiple colors of the tray ceiling. And again, this room is really very interesting. When we change it, if you take a look at those colors,
look at that.
It just changes throughout the day, and it's a point of interest.
When you don't have a light on, you've still got plenty of light in here.
I think so.
Beautiful.
Yep. I think that Shell Point is a beautiful place to live.
I just really want to say, Phil, I think you have definitely captured the lifestyle of a bachelor starting over.
At Shell Point.
At Shell Point.
Yep.
You need to recommend a friend or your own apartment. Call me, Bobby Brown, at 590-9010 and tell me who you are or who your friend is, and are they willing to have us come and show their apartment too. So let's hope we get some new folks to go and visit. And thank you so much for your time today. And thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Bobby.
Charles Shipson helped to start a church in Minnesota, which recently celebrated its 50th anniversary. Let's hear Dr. Shipson's story.
I was born in New Jersey and reared there, and then moved from there to Minneapolis area. My dad was a railroad man. He repaired passenger cars, so we had passes. We could go anywhere in the United States. As far back as I can remember, I wanted to be a pastor. However, my parents separated, and I became the head of the home at about 12 years of age, too young for working papers. However, I did get a job. I worked at a chemical factory in the office. I had a desk there at the offices. So I grew up fast. I went to Nyack College in Nyack, New York, and took the Bible and Theology program in preparation for the ministry. Had a little hard time getting in because I had dropped out of high school in order to support the family, and they finally let me in on probation to see whether I could do college work or not. So I graduated from college. I graduated from high school one day and from college the next day, because I did it by means of the various tests that you can take and get your high school equivalency certificate. My first pastorate, people would come to the door and say, "Is the pastor at home?" And I would say, "I am the pastor." Or they would say, "Is your father in?" So it was a bit of a problem at first. The president of St. Paul Bible College approached me and asked if I would come and replace the man who taught pastoral methods and homiletics there. He had passed away, and they needed somebody urgently. And I, by that time, had my master's degree from New York University, so they had me come, and then I kept on working toward my doctorate right while I was teaching. We had heard about the snow and how heavy it was and all, and how cold the winters were, and those things were true, but not the first year that we were there. We had a very mild winter the first year we were there, which was a delight to us. It was a good way to get acclimated. There was a young couple, his name Martin Paulette, and they were holding Bible studies in their home in a suburb of Minneapolis. And it grew to 15, 18, 20 people, and they decided, that little group, that they'd like to establish a church in that area. And so they wanted someone to come and preach for them, and I agreed to go Sunday mornings and evenings as just to be a part-time type pastor, just the preaching pastor, not there during the week because I was busy at the Bible college during the week. In the morning, we met at the Morris By Elementary School, and then for the evening services, we met at Peace Lutheran Church. We rented the church for the evening services. It was exciting because during the time I was there, it grew to the extent that when we left only because they called their first full-time pastor, and we were already drawing up plans for their first building. So it was just exciting to see rather rapid growth there. One Sunday night, after the evening service, we locked up the church, went out into the parking lot, and were visiting with the remaining people in the rather dark parking lot. I had been packing up the station wagon, and I laid my Bible, my very precious Bible, because it had notes from the years of sermons in it. I laid it on the top of the vehicle while I put some things in, fully intending, of course, to put it inside, and completely forgot it. We climbed in our vehicle and we headed out to the freeway. We traveled 55 miles an hour. There were trucks, semis that passed us and rocked our own vehicle, and there were two rough patches of road and round corners, and finally we arrived at our home, and I stepped out, and there was the Bible on top. Hadn't moved an inch, and the open side of it was toward the front. The binding was toward the rear. It was catching all that wind, and it had never moved. And to this day I envision an angel sitting on top of the car with his hand firmly on top of the Bible, keeping it in place until we got home. One of the best things that happened for me was that in that congregation, the Word of Life Church, was a couple by the name of Leon and Arliss Bowman. Arliss Bowman was on the marimba. Leon Bowman led the singing, For such a little church to have such talented musicians was wonderful, and it helped to draw people because they liked a good music program. Before ever going there, my wife and I had sat down together one day and said, you know, we don't have any close friends, really close. We have lots of friends, but no close friends. Wouldn't it be nice if there'd be a couple where he would become my best friend and she would become your best friend? And when there's something that you want, God encourages you to ask for it. And so we did. We put it on our prayer list. Lord, let us find the couple of our dreams. And when we went to that church, Leon and Arliss became for us the ones we had asked for. And now here it is 50 years later, and we are the best of friends. We traveled all through Europe together on a vacation. We've been to the Holy Land together. We went to South America together, and we became such good friends that we even drew up wills in which if anything happened to either couple, the other couple would take the children and rear them. So Leon and Arliss Bowman are now living here at Shell Point from Teledora here now. The Lord very specifically answered that prayer at the Word of Life Church. It kind of came out of the blue. In fact, the congregation had grown to the point where I knew hardly anyone anymore that had been there when I was there. So when his invitation came to come the first weekend of May for their 50th anniversary, I was startled to realize, was that really 50 years ago? I'm delighted with that. That's why we start churches, because we want them to be an ongoing blessing. It makes me feel really good talking about Word of Life. Pleased about that.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in next week for more stories and news from around your community. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for the weekend of January 17th, 18th, and 19th. I'm Kara Minowie. From all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday.